Hello guys, it's time again to check out a phone camera, and this time it's the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. The rear camera of this phone operates at 12 megapixel resolution and uses a Sony IMX386 sensor, which you already know from the Xiaomi Mi 6. It comes with optical image stabilization, PDAF autofocus, and also an f2.0 aperture. Now on the front it uses a 5 megapixel OmniVision sensor, which is located down here in the bottom right corner, and this one also uses an f2.0 aperture. Now before we are having the usual look at actual samples, let's check out the camera application, and this one actually is the very same as pretty much all Xiaomi phone use. So we have a very basic front-end user interface. As you can see, we have a shutter button, we have a switch to go to video mode, we have a shortcut to the gallery application, we have a button for filters, we have a button for further options, and we have a button to switch the cameras. Hello there. And on the upper right corner we have an HDR switch, and on the upper left corner we have the LED flash control. So that's about the usual stuff you get with any Xiaomi phone. What I find kind of annoying is that when recording videos you always have to manually enable the 4K mode, like on pretty much any Xiaomi phone, because it always reverts back to full HD mode when you turn off the camera application and then start it again. So as you can see, it is now set to full HD resolution, and I previously set it to 4K multiple times and it always jumps back. So I need to tap this and enable 4K again, which is extremely annoying, and I don't know why Xiaomi never fixes this feature. So what about the other options we have available here? So for photo mode we have a panorama mode, timer mode, audio mode, manual mode, which is very important. You can control the focus manually, you can control exposure time manual, but at the very same time you can also leave certain settings at auto mode. So if you want to take long exposure shots without changing anything in the white balance or anything like that, just leave that stuff at auto and just set your desired exposure time there. Other options we have is a straighten mode, which ensures that your pictures always are straight. We have a beautify mode, we have a group selfie mode, tilt shift effect, we have a square mode, which comes handy for Instagram shots, and we also have a special night mode. And in the camera mode we have also different modes available, which is a time-lapse mode as well as a slow motion mode, and this one shoots at 120 fps at 720p. So yeah, that's about the camera application. So let's check out actual samples of the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, and let's first start with some close-up picture. This one. This has been taken with mediocre lighting conditions due to bad weather, but as you can see the picture looks pretty decent. We've got a nice amount of detail and the color reproduction is very natural. Nothing is really off there. Really nice picture, and also if we zoom in it still looks pretty decent. Next, let's have a look at some landscape shot, for example this one. And as you can see, the phone has fairly okay dynamics. Picture also looks pretty good considering that this was taken during pretty cloudy sky. But there is a little bit of noise here in the darker areas, as you can see. Let's zoom in so you can see this better. So here you go, quite a bit of graininess going on there. But overall amount of detail again is pretty good, especially on the bright areas of the picture. So this one is a close-up picture during sunshine. And as you can see, this one looks pretty good too. The colors look really nice, very natural, not too intense, but also not washed out or anything like that. Perfectly balanced in my opinion. And once again, we have a fairly good amount of detail with almost no noise in the picture. Looks pretty decent again. And also this close-up picture and this one too looks really good. As you can see, we've got a really nice amount of detail there, and the flowers again look really natural. Often when you take pictures of flowers with smartphones, they tend to look too colorful, too intense. But this is really not the case here. Again, a very balanced and natural looking picture that doesn't look overly sharp but also not unsharp. just perfect in my opinion. But sometimes the camera has kind of outages. As you can see, for example, on this picture, this was a very deep, intense green, but on this picture it looks kinda washed out for some reason. And this is something that sometimes does happen on the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, that it sometimes doesn't get colors right, especially when it comes to green tones. But it really doesn't happen too often, so it's not an annoying issue, it's just something that happens sometimes. And also on this picture, the color didn't come out very natural. It looks kind of bluish to me, but as I said, it was a pretty deep green, so not the best result there. And what I also noticed is that on close-up/macro shots during suboptimal lighting conditions, you often see some shakiness in the pictures, like here. So you definitely need to have steady hands to get sharp pictures during such lighting conditions. It really looks like the optical image stabilization of the sensor does not work when taking pictures, but only when doing videos. But what about a low light performance of the camera? So let's check this out first with some examples taken with the integrated dual LED flash. This one has been taken using the LED flash, and as you can see, the picture is fairly bright and the color of the plant is fairly okay too. It's a little bit washed out, it's a bit more intense in real life, but it still does look okay. Also, this one came out really bright, it's a close-up picture, yet it isn't overexposed like it sometimes happens on smartphones. Really good, and the amount of noise is pretty low actually. But the LED flash doesn't always perform so well, as you can see here. This area here, which comes out gray, normally is a dark green, so it definitely got the colors wrong there. So this is something that happens sometimes, especially with green shades, that they come out kinda grayish with the LED flash, and that mostly happens on macro/close-up shots. For some reason, don't know if they will be able to fix this, it's probably a thing of software optimization there. Now this picture has been taken at night with a very low amount of light available, not much synthetic light sources there in this picture, and this was taken using the automatic mode. So as you can see, we have a bit of graininess, there is a certain degree of unsharpness, so it's not a perfect low light result, but it's still in a usable area, I think. If you are inside a city with more synthetic light available, results actually do look much better. But if you actually have a tripod available and can use this one in combination with the manual mode and do some long exposure shots, you see that the results are far better. This one has been taken without any additional light sources, just the available light, with an exposure time of, I think, 15 seconds or something like that, I don't remember anymore. But as you can see, it looks pretty good. And also this one, which has been taken with an exposure time of 32 seconds, I think, looks really good. You've got a great sharpness, a very low amount of noise, and colors look okay too, in my opinion, and the amount of detail is pretty nice. So yeah, with manual mode and long exposure you can get decent results at night. What about front camera? This one, as previously mentioned, uses an OmniVision sensor with 5 megapixels, but still it performs better than a lot of other phones, boasting sensors with a much higher resolution. So let's check this out. This has been taken indoors with synthetic lighting, and as you can see, it's not the most crisp photo you have ever seen, but it still looks totally decent. I mean, we have a very low amount of noise, or near to no noise. Only here in the black areas we see some noise, and the amount of detail is also fairly good. It's not a very crisp picture, but it still looks perfectly fine. And at daylight, pictures come out really well too, I think. Do I have something outdoors? Yes, here I have. Look at this. Colors look just fine, very natural. I mean, you can't complain about that, can't you? And the last thing to check out, of course, is video performance. We already talked about front camera, so let's continue with video footage taken on the front camera. This one takes videos with 1080p. And as you can see, also the video quality is pretty much okay on the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. And the main camera records video with up to 4K resolution, as you can see. And it also uses the optical image stabilization. So you can see footage is not totally steady there, but it definitely catches the vast majority of shakiness in the picture. And the autofocus is pretty decent, as you can see. It's very speedy. Boom. No jumping. Just boom, sharp. Colors look great too. Amount of detail is good. Really good video quality there. So yeah, that's the camera of the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. I think it's pretty good. Well done, Xiaomi. So yeah, that's all for this video sample. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the full video review.